All right, class. Hope this message finds you well. Hope this Monday evening is going well. Well, actually, it's Monday Night Football is over with, so it's like Tuesday morning. But I wanted to make sure that you had this video up by Tuesday. I know that as we move into the halfway point of the course, um, that the work is going to pick up just a little bit. All right, so this morning, I wanted to talk a little bit about the integrative family paper. And again, this is really to demonstrate your understanding and ability to articulate course objectives and themes. So as you're writing, I know that you're going to be applying this to different settings, but it's always important to keep in the forefront, that one of the primary goals is that your work reflect the course materials and reading. And so over the next few weeks, you will need to start thinking about the following things with regard to your paper. Choosing a family that you know through your practicum work, which might be hard for some people. So you really want to evaluate it, right? You don't want to go down that road and then figure, oh, I don't have enough information. Really do a solid evaluation of whether or not you're going to have that, so you don't have to make a U-turn. If you're unable to do that, talk to your instructor about a family from a TV or a film that you would like to use. And I want to emphasize a family, okay? If you share with me the movie or the series that you're thinking about, I can try and come up to speed and give you any feedback with regard to my thoughts about how that might work out for this particular paper. And then you want to start to think about the problem or situation that you would like to address with this family. And ladies and gentlemen, that's really important because, sometimes in papers like this, we go from problem to problem to problem instead of looking at that problem and trying to look at different levels beneath and above the surface, okay? Start building a list of professional literature, assigned course readings, case presentations, class discussions that will be useful in writing this paper. And again, for me, it's really the textbook and it's really those articles that come into play. We do have a lot of great videos, but begin to think about that. And I think the value of this, again, is an outline. Because if you outline certain elements that you're going to talk about, and then you maybe put the in-text citation, and then in the element, and the citation, element and citation, then when you get to the writing is a little bit easier, just in my opinion. Then there's the sort of, by the end of week 13, you will have a rough draft of this 10 to 12 page paper. And I really suggest that when you get to page 7, that you consider scheduling an appointment with the Writing Resource Center to share with them the directions and share with them your work and have them give an honest assessment of where you are. And then this is just some of the basics in terms of identifying information, presenting problem, the genogram, the eco map. You have strength and resiliency, educational background and income, life cycle, family functioning, boundaries, roles and rules, communication, decision making, identify goals, treatment plan, intervention, approach, evaluation, and termination. Now, to be quite honest with you, in my opinion, this is a lot of information. And based on my experience as a practitioner, a lot of this information is achievable, but some of it's going to be difficult, whether it's a practicum, a series, or a movie. And so, what I'm looking at right now is I'm looking at the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 themes, which are pretty much assessment. That's from identifying information to communication and decision making. Now, from my view, this is just me talking, suggesting, I'm thinking that out of this 11 or so themes that you might be able to cover 6 or 7 and do a good job, right? And I think in looking at those 6 or 7, and you can do 11 if you want to, that's up to you. But in looking at these 6 or 7, you can sort of pinpoint the presenting problem, develop some identified goals for that 1 or 2 presenting problems. You don't want to have many presenting problems. It says presenting problem, singular. Some identified goals related to that presenting problem, singular. And then looking at a treatment plan, intervention and approach, evaluation and termination. And I think if you go for fewer themes there, then it gives you a little bit more space for a very tight treatment plan. And again, I go back to, there's a presenting problem. Don't try and solve the world with your treatment plan. And that's not just me, that's just from a clinical standpoint. You want to have, a presenting problem. You want to have some specific 1 or 2 identified goals just to get your client off the ground, just to get them feeling good about themselves, reducing the possibility of not achieving some of the goals. That would be my approach to practice. Not making the goals too broad, and in the treatment plan, having several distinct steps to get to those 1 or 2 goals. I want to say this again, ladies and gentlemen. A presenting problem, a couple of goals, several steps in a treatment plan to achieve those 2 goals, and those steps be related to achieving and helping achieve those goals. Intervention and what approach, that's sort of more so, what type of modality you're going to be looking at. Evaluation and termination. This is a good piece for me to talk about. If you're going to evaluate the outcomes, of your intervention or your treatment plan, those outcomes have to be reflective of your treatment goal. Okay, so if I'm going to sort of measure the effectiveness of an exercise program, it's going to be weight, it's going to be a number. Okay, and you may not think that you can come up with some numbers here in terms of evaluation. I'm not saying, you need to do a post-test, pre-test. That's not what I'm saying. I would look at the literature I would just quickly Google single subject research design, agreed upon goals between you and the client. So, you and the client may say, the client isn't going to throw anything anymore, they're not going to yell at anybody anymore, and they're going to reduce the amount of times they throw something, they're going to reduce the amount of times they yell at somebody, they're going to increase the positive affirmation. Those are the things that you would talk about in evaluating the effectiveness of the plan. And then termination. And so I hope this is helpful. This is just sort of a prescription within what's already on paper that I'm looking for in terms of this project. And again, I'm just sort of on the fence with regard to whether there's a need to do a genogram and the eco map. I do see the need, both of them can be used. So I'd like to hear what you're thinking. At least 1, possibly 2, but not necessarily do you have to use both of them. And so that's what you're going to start sort of focusing on, over the next few weeks. Now, the other part is that you have your genogram work and you have your diversity and use of self papers. And I got a question with regard to the triad genogram interviews and that interview. So because we're not doing the group work, that triad interview is not going to happen. So your primary purpose, is to get your genogram down. And as I said, this genogram really has to be, some people have lots of families 2 generations out. Some people don't. Some people have extended family. Some people have play family, right? The genogram that you develop should depict your family situation, immediate and extended, as best as you can. And so if you want me to talk any more about that, by all means, let me know. And then one of the things that I'm going to try and do better, class, is to sort of, talk ahead to different things. And right now, I am looking at week 9, and I'm excited because there are no activities or assignments due for week 9. So that's a good thing. But then as we sort of move to week 10, and we move to class week 11, there's a meaningful break there until we get to our mindfulness and well-being journal. And I know that we took some of those things off the table, but what I am hopeful for in week 11 is that you'll pick right up with sort of talking about what you've continued to maintain doing, despite not having it as an assignment, what you continue to do in terms of your well-being, in terms of your self-care, maybe rating yourself again, talking about your emotions. The journal is important, but just being able to practice self-care is even more important. So I hope that this perspective on the integrative family paper was helpful to you. I just want to check very quickly and make sure that I answered the questions that I received. Yeah, I think I got them all. Feel free to share the movie or series that you're going to use. And I did get a question about the genogram and a rubric. And basically I want to say, we're not going to do the interviews. So I will take a look at the assignment and see if I can provide any additional insight that will help you as you construct your genogram. And so I'll be working on that this week and be back in touch with the class on that. But I hope you have a great Tuesday. And I hope this is helpful in some way. And if you have any additional questions, by all means, let me know. Take care. Bye-bye.